Well, November's at an end, and despite several brand name titles dropping, that's right, I'm talking about you, Sonic, Football Manager 26, and let's definitely not forget you, Black Ops 7. It's been a weirdly slow month overall, and honestly a bit underwhelming if you don't count those big names I just mentioned, especially when we compare it to the rest of the year. And that's even more true for me personally because only a tiny selection stood out, and one of those entries is actually 3 games I'm counting as one because they're all remasters of a trilogy that's been around forever. So, without further ado, here are 9 games from November that I reckon are worth taking a gander at. Kicking off the list at number 1, we've got this beautiful little indie gem called Master Lemon, The Quest for Iceland. It's a top-down adventure game, similar to Stardew Valley or Core Keeper in the way that you view the world and interact with everything around you. But what really makes it stand out is its story, and its completely unique twist on those familiar, tried and true puzzle mechanics. In it, you'll play as Lemon, a young man who gets transported to the mysterious Bashir Islands, where a memory-devouring plague is slowly wiping out the languages and erasing entire cultures from existence. And the only way to fight back is with words, literally. Instead of your usual push block, pull lever, match symbols kind of puzzle, you're actually learning real words from over 25 languages and using them as magical abilities. A word might let you combine items, clear fog from an area, talk to characters who speak entirely different languages, or simply just unlock new paths by applying the meaning of the word directly to the environment. Now, don't get me wrong, the game still leans heavily on those familiar tried and true puzzle solving elements everyone knows and loves, or maybe loathes. It just builds on them in a very clever way. All of this feeds into a language driven puzzle system that feels refreshing, wholesome, and honestly just really creative. So there is quite a lot of heart in this game, for various different reasons, so if this does sound like your kind of indie gem, well, good news, it's out now and available on PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Coming in next is a colourful and atmospheric 2D Metroidvania called Possessor S. And for anyone thinking this gives off major hyperlight drifter vibes, you wouldn't be mistaken. It's made by the same studio. The game is set in Sun Tzu City, a quarantined dystopian cyberpunk-like metropolis ruled by the mega corporation Aggregane. You'll play as Luca, a high school student who survives a devastating explosion and encounters a dying demon named Rem. In a last-ditch effort to live, the two of them strike a deal and merge, and from there you'll be fighting your way out of the city after learning that Aggredine tortures demons like Rem and uses their life force to power the entire city. And of course, that means Luca's a target now too. Across the story, the bond between Luca and Rem will slowly deepen as Ren learns what it means to be human by peering into Luca's unpleasant childhood memories, much to Luca's dismay, all whilst Luca, likewise, experiences the horrors Rem endured as a plaything of Aggredine. It's through these memories and the experiences they share whilst trying to escape from the city that their bond evolves from survival and distrust into mutual understanding, friendship, and dare I say respect. It's easily the strongest part of the story. Gameplay wise, expect that classic Metroidvania, hyperlight drifter mix, fast hack and slash combat, ranged abilities, tight platforming, puzzle solving, object shifting, and grapple hooking for launching into new areas to uncover loot, secrets, and key items. Boss battles hit hard, very Hollow Knight-like, and will absolutely flatten you if you wander in unprepared. All this unfolds in a desolate yet strangely vibrant world where colours pop against ruined cityscapes, and every frame looks like concept art brought to life. So, if a character-driven story set in a haunting, dystopian, cyberpunk world sounds like your kind of thing, then Possessors is for you, and it's out now on PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Coming in at number 3 on the list is a cozy farming sim-esque game filled with exploration, that is Winter Burrow. In this cozy little gem, you'll play as a mouse who returns from their life in the big city to find their childhood home, a burrow in the forest, is completely in ruins. Does this remind anyone of a certain grandpa's farm in a certain valley? And to make matters worse, your dear aunt who was supposed to be looking after the place has mysteriously gone missing. Now it's up to you to not only restore your childhood home, but also figure out what happened to her, all whilst helping out the various woodland creatures you meet along the way. You'll be doing all the usual cozy game things, collecting and foraging for items, upgrading and crafting them into useful gear, whether that's clothes, tools, or food, repairing bridges to gain access to new areas, gathering resources to rebuild your burrow, and meeting and befriending other woodland creatures to unlock story points, recipes, and upgrades. Basically everything you'd expect from a wholesome, warm and fuzzy adventure like this. So, if this interesting take on the cozy gaming genre has you even a little bit intrigued, then Winter Burrow might be for you. It's available now on Switch and PC. Coming in next on the list is the trio of games I alluded to in the introduction, and that is the remastered DX versions of all three mainline Atelier Ryza games. And for anyone who's played the originals, or an Atelier game in general, you already know what you're in for. For those of you who haven't, here's what you can expect. Across the trilogy, you'll follow Ryza, a curious, energetic island girl who discovers alchemy and quickly finds herself wrapped up in adventures far bigger than anything she imagined. Over the course of all three games, she grows from a daydreaming troublemaker into a fully fledged alchemist, learning how to craft everything from tools, weapons, and bombs to potions, accessories, and key story-related items. And as is tradition with the Atelier series, your core loop revolves around gathering materials, unlocking new recipes, filling out your ever-growing alchemy cauldron, and using all those creations to help out your friends, your hometown, and whatever new regions you explore. Of course, it wouldn't be an Atelier game without the standard JRPG combat thrown into the mix. A blend of turn-based and real-time mechanics where you'll be smacking monsters, building AP, triggering combos, and farming all the crafting mats you'll need to push your alchemy even further. And to top off everything we loved about these games the first time round, the DX editions bundle together a whole stack of improvements, from all previously released DLCs to performance boosts, faster load times, visual touch-ups, a photo mode, and a bunch of handy quality of life upgrades to both the alchemy and the gathering. Basically, they've taken three already great games and buffed up the entire experience. So if this sounds like your kind of jam, or you're a fan of the modern Atelier games, and you've been putting off going back to Ryza's older adventures, or you're a long-time fan keen to experience these titles in a whole new light, consider picking up any of the three individual DX releases. They're all available on PS5, Switch and PC. Just keep in mind, the DX versions are digital only at the moment. Coming in at number 5 on the list is a title that shouldn't surprise anyone given how prolific it's been this month, and that is of course none other than Where Winds Meet. Set in ancient China, it's an open world, Wuxia-based action-adventure RPG, with Wuxia being the genre all about martial arts heroes, exaggerated abilities, acrobatics, chivalry, and dramatic leaps that completely ignore the laws of physics. So you can expect to see plenty of Wuxia flair, lightning-fast sword strikes, rooftop running, wall climbing, air dashing, gravity-defying leaps, mystic internal arts techniques, chi-powered abilities, stance changes, stealth takedowns, and a whole range of flashy martial arts weapon styles. And speaking of weapon styles, you're not locked into one weapon type either. You can switch between single swords, twin blades, spears, polearms, rope darts, bands, and much more. Each with their own unique combat style and flow. And as for the combat, it's a mix of real-time weapon play, dodging, parrying, countering, special technique, and cinematic Wuxia mobility, which makes every fight feel like you're starring in a martial arts epic. As for the story, it takes place during the final years of the Ten Kingdoms era, a time of political collapse and warlords fighting for control. You'll play as a wandering swordsman caught between loyalty, morality, and survival, slowly uncovering conspiracies, betrayals, and the consequences of power, all whilst travelling through the sprawling eastern world filled with towns, rivers, ancient ruins, mountains, and historically inspired locations. Now, you can play purely solo and focus on the story, exploration, and character progression, but where the game really shines is in its online shared world mode. Think MMO Lite rather than full traditional MMO. When activated, the story is disabled, and you enter a massive open world filled with multiplayer quests, co-op challenges, world bosses, bounties, resource hunting, and group martial arts events, giving you plenty of things to do with friends or randoms so inclined. So, if this sounds like your kind of MMO, or you're more into soloing it for that single player side of things, or heck, even if you're just a bit skeptical but still curious, it might be worth taking a look at, since it is free to download on PC right now. Just be forewarned, it's absolutely full of gacha and microtransactions. So if you want to tweak your skins or gameplay, all that normal cash shop stuff is there. Next on the list is another interesting little gem, mainly because it somehow lands in both a genre I love and a genre I usually avoid, and that is Disco Samurai, a cyberpunk rhythm combat beat-em-up set in the neo-soaked city, simply called Disco. You'll play as Fox, a rebellious student turned katana-wielding fighter, battling your way through a series of handcrafted diorama-style stages rather than any true kind of open world. The core hook here is combat. Every input has to be timed to the beat. Attacks, dodges, parries, blocks. None of it works successfully unless you hit the exact rhythm. Think JRPG quick-time prompts, but faster, stricter, and fully tied into a soundtrack that is to die for. You can tweak Fox's abilities using keychains, a gear mod system that shifts how your attacks, finishes, and movements behave. There is no open world, no real weapon swapping, no wild traversal, and no multiplayer. It's just a simple, focused, single-player story with rhythm-driven sword combat wrapped up in slick pixel art powered by a soundtrack that nails every vibe. So if this sounds like your kind of jam, see what I did with the fun there? Disco Samurai is available on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. And trust me, it's a lot better than this terrible description I gave of it. Have you ever wanted to hang out with the lo-fi girl from those music vids? Well, our title coming in at lucky number 7 basically lets you do just that. Chill with You, Lo-Fi Story is a cozy narrative adventure that has you take on the role of an online person who meets Satone, the game's lo-fi girl style character, in an online chat room where the two of you hit it off and slowly start becoming friends. From there, the gameplay is simple but oddly relaxing. You'll be working at your desk alongside Satone while customizing lo-fi music, ambient nature sounds, and the visual mood of the room match her emotions and help you focus. The more time you spend working together, the more your bond grows, unlocking little conversations, precious moments, and hints at her hidden feelings. There's also a built-in Pomodoro timer, so it doubles as both a cozy companion game and an actual productivity tool. If you want something chill to work with in the background, it's basically part cozy visual novel, part semi-idle focus app, and part vibe simulator, letting you hang with Satone, set up the perfect atmosphere, and slowly deepen your connection as you go. So if you want to live out your dream of chilling with a lo-fi girl, or you just want something mellow to vibe to while you're at work, preferably on breaks, then Chill With You Lo-Fi Story, the game for you. It's available now on PC. Coming in at number 8 on the list is a beautifully hand-illustrated puzzle platformer, As I Begin to Dream. Now this one is your classic platformer at its core, all the usual jumps, timing, and environmental puzzles. But the big twist here is that you can literally rearrange the world, you can shift it, swap it, rotate it, basically bend the whole level layout to your will. It's a simple mechanic, but it actually makes the game feel really fresh. But where this one really shines is in its story. In it, you'll play as Lily, a young girl who wakes up in a surreal dream world that's basically stitched together from her memories and emotions. And as you move through it, the whole game quietly walks you through the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and eventually acceptance. Each level reflects where Lily's at mentally, and it all hits a lot harder than you'd expect from a platformer. That's probably why it works so well. It's designed to show you an emotional journey through grief to recovery. You pair that with all the gorgeous hand-drawn art, and the whole thing just feels alive and dreamy, almost like you're playing through someone's illustrated journal while they try to make sense of their life. So, if this sounds like something you'd vibe with, As I Begin to Dream is available now on PC and Nintendo Switch. And coming in last but certainly not least, at number 9, it's a game that almost didn't make the cut, but considering I kept coming back to look at it, umming and ahhing about whether to include it, I eventually just went, screw it, you're on the list. And that game is Retrace the Light, a title touted as a 2.5D action adventure, but honestly, in my mind, it's more like a hybrid that swaps between top-down road-like style movement in some sections and side-scrolling platforms in others, with the occasional chunky boss fight thrown on top. Gameplay-wise, expect fast combat, tight dodging, environmental puzzles, and the big standout mechanic, spatial retracing, the ability to teleport back to any spot you've previously visited. You can use it to outmaneuver your enemies, hit blind spot surprise attacks, escape ambushes, or solve tricky level layouts. On top of that, you've got a whole module system that lets you customize Deckham and his fighting style, with different primary loadouts and 20 plus secondary modules to tweak your build even further. Story-wise, it's set in the year 3323 or 3323 in the future where humanity works alongside a super AI called Primus on something known as the Meta Mirror Project, a system designed to repair people's emotional and mental breakdowns by diving into their minds. You play as an enforcer named Deckham who explores these bizarre mirror mazes, fights manifestations of human obsession, and tries to piece together his own lost memories after a mission went horribly wrong. It's surreal, colourful, and way more psychological than the art style first lets on. So, if this sounds like your kind of game, or it leaves you oddly perplexed in the same way it did me, consider giving Retrace the Light a go. It's available now on PC. That concludes my list of 9 interesting games that came out this month. Let me know what you thought of them in the comments down below. Let me know if I missed any games out. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.